Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal embarked to the United States this evening to take part in the 78th General Assembly of the United Nations in New York. Premier Dahal is scheduled to address the UN General Assembly on 21st of September this Thursday. During the United Nations General Assembly, Prime Minister Dahal will also address the problems faced by underdeveloped countries like Nepal and challenges faced by them due to climate change. Good evening, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Dahal embarks for the U.S. to take part in the UN General Assembly. Premier Dahal to inform the international community about the progress made by the country regarding peace process. Incidents of cybercrime on the rise with the increase in the use of social media platforms. Around 3,000 complaints of cybercrime filed within the past 2 months. U.S. President Joe Biden plans to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky next week around the United Nations General Assembly meetings. And Team Nepal's preparation for the SAF Under-19 Championship at its final stage aims to lift the title at home ground. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal has embarked on the U.S. visit to take part in the 78th General Assembly of the United Nations in New York. The Premier left Nepal on a Qatar Airways flight this evening. Prime Minister Dahal is leading the Nepali delegation to the UN General Assembly in New York, scheduled between 18th and 26th of September this month. The visiting delegation includes 5 members of the Prime Minister's Secretariat and representatives from the Foreign Ministry. Prime Minister Dahal is scheduled to address the UN General Assembly on 21st of September this Thursday. During his stay in New York, the Premier will also meet U.S. President Joe Biden. Prime Minister Dahal will directly fly to China from New York on 21st of September to attend the inaugural session of the Hangzhou Asian Games. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal has said that he will address the problems faced by underdeveloped countries like Nepal and challenges faced by them due to climate change during the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Speaking during a program organized in the capital earlier today, Dahal also stated that he will address the progress made by the country in terms of peace process. Likewise, he said that health, education, industry based on agriculture, among other issues, will be prioritized during his China visit, saying that the government is responsible to create a favorable environment for youths to remain in the country. The Premier pledged to formulate favorable sustainable development target, report by the Planning Commission, National Youth Policy, and plans and programs disregarded by the government. He said that knowledge, skills, eligibility, potential, and experience of youths must be utilized for nation building.
For this, in this August gathering, among many.
With the expansion of access to the internet, people have been able to easily communicate. In the meantime, increase in cybercrime has been reported with the increasing use of social media platforms. The crime investigating body has said that crimes carried out with the use of computer technology and the internet have been increasing drastically in comparison to other forms of crimes. Awareness regarding cybercrime can be heard while calling networks of Nepal Telecom. Police have said that awareness is being spread through the telecom's network amid lack of awareness among the general public regarding the issue, despite increasing use of digital platforms. According to data by the Nepal Police, 9,000 complaints of cybercrime have been filed during the previous fiscal year. Meanwhile, the Cyber Bureau of Nepal Police has said that around 3,000 complaints of cybercrime have already been filed this fiscal year. A woman who had received a message through one of the digital platforms saying that she had won an iPhone through a lucky draw deposited money on various bank accounts as she was instructed. However, she neither received an iPhone nor received her money back. She filed a police complaint after she realized she was scammed. On 21st of August last month, police arrested 2 individuals from Gusai Gal in Lalitpur's Kumandol, alleging them of involvement in the scam. Police said that 7 mobile phones, 12 ATM cards, and around 200 SIM cards were recovered from them. Police have said that such groups have been actively involved in conducting scams. Complaints regarding such incidents are filed at the Cyber Bureau on a daily basis. This is due to lack of awareness among the general public regarding cybercrime. Criminal activities like demanding money with friends and family after hacking social media, tricking people to send security codes of bank accounts, and scams through online trade have been on the rise. Meanwhile, the government entity that is responsible in monitoring such activities have remained indifferent towards the issue. There is a general call on the general public to remain alert regarding online scams through Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, Imo, among other digital platforms. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked people in several provinces how aware are they regarding cyber crimes that are carried out through social media. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
यस्तो मेसेज आएमा नजिकको प्रहरीमा खबर गर्नुपर्छ
धेरैचोटि आएपछि त्यसलाई के रे पुलिसमा पनि जुरु गर्नुपर्छ
त्यस्तो मेसेजहरू आइदियो भने या त आफ्नो नजिकको प्रशासन जिल्ला प्रशासन कार्यालयमा गएर चाहिँ जानकारी गराउनु पर्यो
सानो तिनो लोभमा फस्नु भयो भने जहाजै डुब्छ
भन्छ यति करोड जितेछ फर्स्टमा के हामी काम गरिसौ त्यसमा जितेछौं फर्स्टमा यो सवाल गर्नुपर्छ यिनीहरुसँग
नचिनेको मान्छेहरुले तपाईलाई यस्तो भयो उस्तो भयो चिट्टा परेछ विदेश पठाउँछु तपाई यस्तो भनेर चाहिँ भनेमा हामीले चाहिँ त्यसको मतलब नगर्ने
कति फेकहरु पनि आइरा हुन्छ म त्यति त्यतातिर चाहिँ ध्यान दिन्न
तपाईको खातामा यति लटरी पर्यो के र के हेनतेन भनेर आइराको हुन्छ तर म चाहिँ त्यस्तो कुराहरुबाट निकै सचेत छु
जोसुकैलाई त्यसरी मोबाइलबाट कल गर्न नदिने अब आफ्नो पासपोर्ट इमेल आइडीहरु अरूलाई नदिने
जोखिम हुन सक्छ भन्ने लाग्छ भने तुरुन्त सम्बन्धित निकायहरुमा चाहिँ त्यसको जानकारी गराएर थप दुर्घटना निम्त्याउनुबाट चाहिँ आफूले जोगिनुपर्छ
4 people, including 3 from the same family, were killed in a sawmill factory in Kathmandu's Tinkune Gairigaon late last night. The police are still trying to gather facts regarding the incident. 2 males and 2 females were killed by using a sharp weapon. Those who died in the incident that occurred at around 11:55 p.m. last night include Dolkaz Kumar Bhujel, who used to work at the factory, his wife Ambika Bhujel, and mother Subhadra Bhujel. 19-year-old Nabin Rai of Morang was also killed in the incident. Police had found their body inside the factory. Police have said that injuries from sharp weapon have been found on the bodies of all the 4 people that were killed. The Nepal Police has formed a 5-member investigation committee led by Chief Superintendent of Police of Kathmandu Valley Crime Investigation Office, Somendra Singh Rathore, to investigate the incident. Police have arrested 28-year-old Dipendra Rai, suspecting his involvement in the incident. Dipendra and victim Nabin are cousins. Dipendra told the police the 4 were already dead when he reached the sawmill. Police have informed that the Bhujel family had been working at the sawmill for the past 10 years, while Dipendra was working there since the past 18 months. Although police have suspected Dipendra's involvement in the murder, the motive is still unknown. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we had asked you, why have teachers become agitated concerning the education bill registered at the Parliament? 77% voted for A, politicizing education, 9% voted for B, natural interest, and 14% voted for C, lapses in understanding. And here's today's question. Why has the public been deprived of easy access to free medicines provisioned by the government? Your options are A, procedural hassles, B, lack of budget, and C, lack of awareness. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the international update. U.S. President Joe Biden plans to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky next week around the United Nations General Assembly meetings, according to multiple officials familiar with the plans. It remained unclear whether the meeting would occur in New York or later in the week at the White House. One source familiar with the matter informed that Zelensky is expected to travel to Washington, D.C. after his stop in New York. Biden and Zelensky are both scheduled to address the assembly this Tuesday. Zelensky is planning to use an in-person appearance at the annual meeting in New York to appeal for more support for Ukraine as it continues to wage a counteroffensive against Russia. Aside from an address to the assembly, he plans several meetings with other world leaders in New York. Among his objectives will be trying to persuade nations that haven't taken a firm stance against the war to be more forceful in their condemnation of Russia. The Israeli government announced on Thursday that Zelensky is scheduled to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Zelensky will also visit the U.S. Capitol next Thursday, though he will not address a joint session of Congress and is instead expected to meet individually with lawmakers and members of leadership. Biden last met Zelensky in person on the sidelines of a NATO summit in Lithuania in July. Before that, the men sat for talks in May at the G7 summit in Japan. Despite support from the United States for an appearance at last week's G20 summit in India, Zelensky wasn't extended an invitation by the hosts. He last traveled to the United States in December, his first time leaving Ukraine since Russia's invasion began.
Sports news.
The SAF Under-19 Championship is scheduled to be held in Nepal from 21st of September this Thursday. Team Nepal is preparing for the tournament by practicing at the Anpa ground. With the aim of lifting the title at home ground, Team Nepal managed to train for only a month. Players for the team were selected through open selection without organizing any tournaments. Under-19 tournament is considered important to identify new good players for the senior team. However, it has been a long time since a domestic Under-19 tournament has been organized. Many players that took part in the SAF Under-17 Championship 2 years ago have been included in the team. Nepal had suffered a 3-1 loss against India in the final then. Players playing in this Under-19 Championship are the new generation of players for Nepal football, which is facing crisis due to exodus of players to foreign countries. There is no bench strength in the national football team at the moment. On top of that, players who have not played age group tournaments have made it to the national team. 560 players from throughout the country came to Kathmandu for the central selection. Among them, 45 players who had played in the Under-17 and A-Division League were selected, and coach Sunil Shrestha included 35 players in the closed camp training. Now 25 players have been selected for the national team as coach Shrestha is setting the team. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.